Hey, we are live. Who all is here? Unfinished project was here at 2.5 hours ago. And what's going on? Let's see. Clint's here. Buff's Garage. Auto Salvage Outlaws. Scarlet the Four-Eyed Cooter. Ron English is here. Brother of Don English, the One-Eyed Cat. Auto Salvage Outlaws. I gotta can my browser. I hate it when I forget to do that. It happens. Let's see here. Yeah, JB is here. Chucky Garage is here. Chucky has a Buick Overlander that he just managed to kill. So we're going to see what he's going to come up with next.
Oh, maybe a supercharged 3800 in that Overlander.
Who knows? Well, we've already got one supercharged 3800 at least. Aaron Hinckley's here. All right. Bantry Productions. Blake is in the house. He's doing some electrical. A lot of these guys are always working in the shop while they're watching, which is cool. Let's see. Fab Race Mod Repeat is here. The Mofo Driver. My Aunt Nancy's here. Frankenstein C20. Track and Travel with Rick. That's Rick Gerray. Ricky Gerray is one of our participants in the bracket, and they have the Red Light Ricky Award this year for the most painful red light of the bracket. They have a video out on that. So if you haven't seen it, go to Jerry Racing channel. You can see the Red Light Ricky Award. Tony's Hot Rod Garage, calling Tebow. Howdy, miss. They're chatting back and forth. Danny Boyd is here. Mopar's Mustangs and Minivans. My mom's watching. 38 POS Racing is here. Dust Devil Garage. Pure Pontiac Garage. Buck Does It. Two Hacks. Jay from Rapid Transit. Three Car Chronicles. Mr. Popcorn there. Orville Reinbacher. Let's see. LP94. Buff Del Campo. The Whitetail Rancher. Thumper's here. Thumper, the sweaty fat guy. Mr. Pontiac and Ethanol there. Mr. Polo C4. Jackie Abbott. How is everybody? Andrew Nelson of Nivlac 57. Here to make our chat faster than it would be otherwise.
Dragon now we're Drive. Twice as fast.
That's it. How is everybody tonight? Well, I think most of you recognize Dallas in the upper right square there, and our guest is Luke B, who is also a No Name 500 contender this year. So if you've seen Lukey B's Speed and Service on my homepage for the No Name 500, that would be him. But sure. I'll let you guys talk about why he's here. Just wanted to introduce him.
Well, I don't know how we should do this. I guess it all started back in PRI. The idea was the American Hot Rod Association was looking for somebody that we could work with that was specifically focused on doing American-made parts. And there's only a handful of manufacturers that definitively make their parts in America, and they're proud of it, right? And so we approached, it turned out to be Luke, but the folks at Howard's Cam's booth at PRI and told him what we were interested in doing. And Luke was the guy that I was talking to. And I don't know, you want to take it from there, Luke? I mean,
yeah, I mean, if anybody's been to the PRI show, or if you've been in a booth at the PRI show, you always get a feel of the people coming up and talking to you. And I'm standing there, and first it was John and Mr. Professor P, right? Is what you guys call him?
Yeah, Professor P.
Yep. So I'm standing there. I'm tired. I think it was either Friday or Saturday, which for me I've been there for 4 days. And they come up and start talking to me, and I immediately, like, am I going to be able to help this guy, or are these guys here to ask for something? And I'm like, backpack guy and this member of Slipknot, like, they're going to be asking for stuff here. How's this going to go? And I sat there and listened for a minute, and all of a sudden it became this crazy cool thing, because when they brought me on boards at Howard, the big thing that we wanted to do was just get a face out in the marketplace and reintroduce ourselves, kind of rebrand ourselves almost. And a little while later, John came back with Dallas, and we bounced a couple ideas off each other. And for, what has it been now? Month and a half that we've been emailing and talking back and forth, and I think we figured out something pretty cool.
Yeah. So I didn't want to compromise on the Made in America thing. All right. That was we're the American Hot Rod Association. That's why I drive American stuff. We want to support America, and it's hard to find in the automotive industry these days where people are willing to just we'll put essentially the undercutting aside, and we'll go with American made stuff, because if you don't have a job, sooner or later your neighbor won't have a job, and nobody else will have a job, and the whole focus was to keep America employed as well as promote American products. So when I approached Howard's, I'd already seen a post that they had done online about American made products, about lifters and camshafts being made in America. And I thought, this is a smart thing to do. But maybe they would be interested in doing something with the American Hot Rod Association. That it doesn't mean the United States, that encompasses America, right? Like we're all in it together. So,
yeah.
I mean, we're all connected. So if it wasn't for that little Panama Canal thing, it'd be all complete. But the whole idea was we get the American companies to support American stuff. So I proposed the idea to Luke, and John had told him that, we were interested in talking to him about this, and he didn't run away. And that was the big thing. Most guys will, because they'll know, oh man, our lifters or our bearings are made in China, so they turn and run tail. And you guys didn't, and you were really interested into having to hear what I said. And so Luke and I talked about it for I guess it's been about a month or so.
Yeah.
And Howard's, at first we were just like, hey, we want to be involved with Howard's camps. Well, they came back and proposed, all right, well, we also own this other brand called Competition Products, and it's essentially a retailer of performance parts, right? Just like you do with just like any other manufacturer.
There you go,
retailer,
right there.
Right? Yeah. And I said, what would be really awesome is if we got everybody in the AHRA a discount through Competition Products. Instead of taking any money up front for sponsorship or anything like that, we get it right back to the members. And so that was kind of the idea. And you guys were all about it.
Yeah. So we're gonna break it to them right now and tell them what we're giving them?
Tell us. Well, we put in the thumbnail that this is the Racers Rep member benefit. So we can let Luke, he'll be able to best explain this benefit. And so the Competition Products catalog looks like this. Nice thick catalog full of all kinds of stuff that you guys buy already, may already have, are planning to buy, all of that good stuff, right?
And if we listed everything that we actually sold, this catalog would be about 4 times as thick. So just because it's not in here doesn't mean we don't have it. Yeah, so
tell them how that member bit works.
So we have a program that we've done with various car communities in the past called the Racer Rep program. And essentially what that does is like Rocky Mountain Supercharger Club or some of the classics clubs here local in Wisconsin. We basically open up this membership to them and allow them to create accounts on Competition Products website, and they'll log in and go through, pick out all the parts that they want, and when they add them to their cart, they'll actually see a discount there. It's not a flat discount because the margins on every part is different, but it's anywhere from 25 to 5 to 10% off. So it's substantial. If you're building an engine from the ground up, or if you're looking for some chassis parts, it's a substantial amount of money that you will end up saving. And what John and Dallas and I have all figured out is that anybody that is an AHRA member or anybody signing up in the future, you will become a part of that group. So you'll be in the Racer Rep program with us at Competition Products. And on top of that, now you guys have a point of contact as well. If you have questions about a product, there's something not in the catalog that you want that you want that's not in the catalog. For instance, we carry all Holley EFI. The only thing that we list in the catalog, I think, is a sniper. So if you want a Dominator, we can get that. If you need data acquisition stuff, we can get that. Blowers, intakes, QA1 suspension, you name it, it's there. And then obviously all of Howard's products are along with that catalog too. So pretty big deal for most of the people at the level that everybody in the AHRA is at, to be able to get these discounts that normally somebody only just has a sponsorship with yet. So we're pretty proud to be able to be this avenue for you guys.
This is a really big deal, guys. I mean, what Luke's talking about is not only do you get a discount, you get a discount at the grassroots level, but a concierge. I mean, when the Racers Rep program, Luke is our Racers Rep. That's a big deal. There's nobody else coming to you banging down your door to offer you that. So I thought that was a really incredible member benefit for AHRA members.
Right. It actually creates a sponsorship for anyone that's already an AHRA member or will be in the future, right? So even if you have from the most basic membership that we have, which is the $35 your fan only membership, all the way up to your lifetime membership, you're essentially going to be covered with competition products, but not just competition products. That also includes Howard's cams and all the parts that they make. So it's a really big deal.
Yeah. I mean, for instance, Howard's, we're famous for our cam and lifters, but we have all the way up to billet crankshafts, billet connecting rods. Ross makes all of our pistons for us, so another good American company. Amazing selection of valve springs, and then a lot of stock diameter valve springs, which a lot of guys struggle with stuff like that. So if you've been having problems getting a valve spring to fit in your tiny little spring pocket that you have in your factory head, we have something for that. We do custom grinds. Not a lot of people know that because we offer so many shelf grinds, but we do custom grinds for pretty much everything. And then competition products. Literally, the sky's the limit. If Summit has it, odds are we have it too.
But you get a discount at competition products.
You get a discount. Yeah.
You're not paying more for the service. You're actually paying less. When do you ever get to pay less and get better service? For you guys who've had bad experiences at the parts store counter because of inexperienced personnel, Luke is the opposite. Luke is an actual racer, and he builds stuff just like you. If you check out his channel, his Lukey B Speed and Service, he's on my homepage as a No Name 500 channel. You'll see his Ranger there. He builds the same kind of stuff that you guys do, and it's legit.
Yeah. My first video was just a brief, little 8-minute long intro, but the scope of it is that Howard's basically just wants to show that we're just grassroots people too. I mean, I built an entire chassis from the ground up in my garage, and built the engine in my garage. Just because we're people that are backed by these industries like Howard's and competition products doesn't mean that we're any different. We still have to go through the exact same things.
And it's American made. That's the big problem. That's the big thing. So that was what really drew me to it.
Yep. Yeah. Hopefully in one of the coming uploads, I'll be walking through the shop and kind of giving you guys an idea what the warehouse looks like. Go back by some of the cam grinders and see how old some of the technology that we use to still grind cams is, and some of the really cool new technology that we use. So,
well, not only are you guys offering like a discount and all that stuff, you're also a registered No Name 500 participant, right?
Yeah. So I think that was a lot of peer pressure from 2 other people in this chat right now. but I'm a drag and drive guy. I've been following drag and drive since I think 2015 or 16. And I attended my first one in 2019. So I love the whole drag racing thing, but the whole competitive spend every dollar you have to go win $50 at a shootout over the weekend isn't my cup of tea. So the drag and drive thing was really a way to challenge yourself and race yourself year after year after year. And the No Name 500 is exactly the same thing. It's what can I challenge myself to do to be able to even make it to this race? Like, who cares about staging the car or if it's going to go A to B? I have to get there, and building the car isn't 100% of that process. So that goes right along with the challenge of what drag and drive is. So yeah, we're at 36 subscribers in 2 days. So I feel like that's pretty solid for the first 2 days in one video. I have no idea. I mean, I said in my first video, I have no idea what I'm doing. So, and I guarantee half of you guys out there too that are 3 or 4 videos in, you're still figuring out the editing process and just getting completely irritated at how slow your computer is because, oh yeah, you need RAM to be able to do this. And oh, my video card sucks. So it's been an experience this week, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, you said like on Wednesday, I'm hot rodding my computer.
Oh my God, yeah. I was on Amazon just overnight and everything.
We've got several people in the chat asking for catalogs, where they see online catalogs, a bunch of catalogs going out. Where can these guys get a competition products catalog or see the online version?
The easiest thing, I'm going to pull it up real quick so I'm not lying, but you're going to go to competitionproducts.com, and then if I type my password right, I believe it's in the upper left-hand corner of the website. Yeah, so competitionproducts.com, upper left-hand corner of the website, it says request a free catalog. Click that. All it wants is your name, address, and then you can sign up for our newsletters because we do send out weekly blasts on certain parts that go on special, and they're usually a pretty good special, so it might even be better than the Racer Rep discount in some cases. But yeah, it's that easy. Just hop on there. You should probably have it, I would say, by Wednesday next week. They go up pretty fast.
I guess the one thing I should throw out there real quick is now the Racers Rep discount does, because this stuff is happening so fast that we're trying to get this all put together, it doesn't go into effect until March the 1st, you said, right?
Right, yes. So when we decided on all of this, Dallas emailed me a pretty massive list of everybody that is a current member, and then after that, everybody that's been signing up. So I am still in the process of inputting everybody into the system. So when you log in, you will actually have that discount associated with your account. So once that is all sorted out, the target date is March 1st. If I can get it done sooner, I am most definitely going to let all you guys know, or John and Dallas will make a post about it. But yeah, it's a lot of data I have to put in for all you guys, and the system doesn't really make it 100% easy to enter a customer every time. So it's coming, but it's not 100% right now.
Well, just know this. So basically, you have just over 30 days to get things in order. You can go ahead and request a catalog. You can go ahead and be making your shopping list. You can go ahead and be getting your build stuff together. But by March 1, you'll be able to pull the trigger on the Racers Rep program for your discounts through competition products.
Yep. Yeah. Get ready and make my shipping department mad I did this.
Well, do remember, I mean, not only is this going to save you money, it'll more than pay for your AHRA membership if you have any amount in your order. I mean, we spend,
sure.
I know it was 7 figures these guys collectively spent on just the No Name Nationals last year. So that gives you some idea of the scope of what these guys spend on parts. It was a lot of money when you add it all together, and we would like to get you guys some added value for your AHRA memberships and help you get ready for events like the No Name Nationals and others.
And make sure your combination's right. That's why I'm here on this live feed tonight. So if you have questions, please just reach out. I will be more than happy to sit on the phone with you for an hour and figure out whatever issues we have.
Well, I guess
the best way for them to get a hold of you? Like, let's say that they need to try to get a combination figured out before they order parts. What's the best contact?
Best thing to do, if they want to talk direct to me, I do have a direct line. Otherwise, they can just dial the general number if you have cam and valve train questions, the thing to do would be call into Howard's, which our main line is 920-233-5228. And then my direct line is 920-230-4255. And then Competition Products main number will be right on the front of the catalog when you get it.
Yep.
But it's 800-233-0199.
And your email is on your card.
Yep. Yeah. It's really easy, just like all my handles. Yep.
So you've given them these numbers and email, so you guys can have this. I'm going to post this down in the video description too, just so that you have that with the numbers that Luke just said.
So what I was going to bring up is, John, you see the comment from Scarlett, the four-eyed Cuda at 719?
As Central Time.
Oh, so it'd be 819.
So to get the discount, you create an account using the same email that is tied to AHRA membership. What say you guys?
So what I think is going to actually happen is when you go on to Competition Products website, you'll use that email to log in, and there'll be a predetermined password for you. So when Dallas, you haven't set any of that information out yet, correct?
No.
Okay, yeah. So you will get basically a flyer from Dallas about your first login, and it will have laid out a predetermined password and your email address. That way, we're not chasing you down trying to get the racer rep associated with your account. It'll already be there, and you won't have to talk to anybody.
Right. So what Luke is saying is he's establishing all the accounts, and then he's going to send me all the information for all the members, and I'm going to email it out to each one of them. So you'll get an email from him with your login and password. It has your Racers Rep discount associated with that. Is essentially your account at Competition Products, and it'll be good to go when you get that email.
Yeah, which is really cool because when we first started talking about all this, we had a few different ideas on how to get all this working and cohesive for everybody. And the first thing we thought of was, well, how do we make sure that everybody's purchases stay tied to them and it's not just one account, like the AHRA account you call and you put an order in through them. So the cool thing with this is that you'll all have your own account. You'll have all your order status. You'll be getting, everybody individually will be getting our flyer updates to your email if you sign up for them. And then I don't know about anybody else, but I use the crap out of the wish list feature in a lot of these websites, because you sit there and you think at night, like, oh man, what do I need to order? Oh crap, I completely forgot I need a throttle cable. So you like go on real quick and you add the throttle cable to your wish list, and then when you wake up in the morning, you've completely forgotten about that. When you or go to order the next part, you see that in your wish list, so you're good to go there. So it's great that everybody's going to have a nice little format that keeps the discount all super inclusive to just them.
I'm going to throw something out there. I'll just mention to the chat, because I've said this before, and I don't just say it, to be saying it. When I say Dallas is the hardest working sanctioned body president in the land, I mean it. Because if you were at PRI, you saw everybody else hanging out at their booth, letting everybody come to them. Dallas and I, we were working at, we had all our stuff in our backpacks, and we were roaming the show, going out talking to people like Luke. Because we didn't go there for people to come hang out with us. We went there to go bring something cool back to the cave for all you guys. And just want you guys in the chat to think about that. Because when I say Dallas really does work hard for all of you guys, why I'm an AHRA member, he really does. This is the kind of stuff that people don't always see. So
yeah, I just you guys came back twice. That's like a lot of people came up and asked for stuff, and I would pitch them something, and the rest of the week they wouldn't come back. You guys were gone for an hour, and you came back with Dallas, and we sat down and we really talked seriously about what we could do together. So that just goes to show the dedication and how actually serious you guys were about putting something together, because there sure are a lot of tire kickers at events like that.
I get probably I probably get associated in that tire kicker thing quite often, because I'll ask questions first before I want to make sure that the people that you're working with are not going to tell you that their stuff is made in America and then it's all made overseas or elsewhere or whatever like that. I try to feel it out first.
Yeah.
I want to thank Dragon Drive for the super chat, and he asks, Luke, will you run 5s at the No Name Nationals?
Mike, setting the bar pretty high, dude. You know what transmissions in that truck.
Well, maybe you should explain to everybody what your combination is, because it's not the normal run-of-the-mill combination. It's just like everybody else here, where you do it because it's challenging, right? And that's what everybody else here does.
It's complete crap, and I had it, and that's why that's why I'm building it. So, my Dragon Drive little pimpin' hot rod is a 1991 Ford Ranger. Regular cab, short box, mini truck. What a lot of people don't know is that Ford actually made a Ranger GT for a couple years, 89, 90, and 91. So old body style and new body style got the GT. Wasn't anything special other than a totally 80s looking ground effects kit. And my truck actually has that. So not a lot of people would be proud about an 80s ground effects kit. But when your truck sits 2 inches off the ground and weighs, I'm not going to tell anybody what it weighs with the motor and trans in it, but I will tell you that without the driveline in it, the truck was under 1,500 pounds. And it's full interior. Yeah. So a little bit's going to go a long way in that truck. It is a 351 Windsor. Really, really basic stuff on the outside.
Well, didn't you say it's stock block motor, right?
Stock bottom end.
Stock bottom end. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So there are some trick things that are done to the bottom end because the goals of the truck are multifaceted. So in the past couple of years, the 8.2 deck guys, so 5-liter Ford guys, have really been pushing what those engines and blocks could do, because for so many years everybody's like 600 horsepower and they'll split right in half. And tuning and EFI and data acquisition has immensely changed that. If you're splitting blocks at 600 horsepower, call me. I will be more than happy for you to pay me to tune your stuff so it doesn't do that. And they got those vehicles deep into the 5s. I believe right now the fastest one has gone 540s in the 8th mile on a complete stock bottom end 5-liter, and the 5.8 351 has only gone 587. So, and the car that's done that is considerable amount heavier than mine, and it's identical setup, same turbo, little bit smaller cylinder heads on a turbo car that really doesn't matter. But yeah, so the truck, I'm shooting for that stock bottom end record. So 587 or 586, something like that. It was just reset a couple weeks ago. But yeah, that's the plan. But we'll see, because I live in southern Wisconsin, and I will be driving the truck to the No Name Nationals. I am getting a U-Haul trailer, and I'm doing it just like Dragon Drive. So that I'll be going 1,300 miles in 4 days plus racing.
And burnout contest. No, I'm kidding.
I don't know about that.
Well, I'll tell you what.
There is something else that's kind of odd about Luke's truck. Is it's not your standard power glide and go. It's a roll your own, isn't it?
Yeah, my wife's the only one with a purse in this house. I got three pedals and a stick.
Yeah, that's what I like about it.
Yep, yeah, but it's a very weak transmission at this point, which it's what I had, so that's why it's in the truck, that's hot rodding. I mean, you use what you have. But I do have a face-plated T56 that's getting built for it that is substantially going to change how the truck works. But if you've ever looked into pricing on one of those, you know how expensive they are. So it might not go in this year, but I'm hoping that it's at least in the back of the truck to go in case I have problems on any races this year.
Bring spare parts. Bring your spare parts.
Yeah. There's if you are into Dragon Drive at all, and to me, why have a race car if you can't drive it wherever you want? I mean, there is an extent that if you want to go a certain speed, that you really kind of just need to have a truck and trailer. But for me, I want to enjoy the thing as much as possible. So when you live that way, you learn that there's certain things you need two of, one of which being a transmission. Yeah, for me, probably another short block 'cause it's stock.
You're packing everything but a spare Ranger.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
I'm getting buried in that truck. I'll never have a spare Ranger.
There was a guy that actually did that one time. He got buried in his car.
I believe it. People do anything.
Yeah, people do stuff like that. I noticed Jeremy said he's late, and Jeremy, you missed it all. That means you're excluded. No, you're not really excluded, but there is a fantastic new member benefit for AHRA members through competition products. And since we're here, our chat, we have people come in different shifts throughout the chat. So for those of you just getting here, because we have a lot that weren't here at the beginning, if you are an AHRA member beginning March 1st, there is a new member benefit. There's going to be a Racers Rep discount through competition products. So if you're not yet receiving this catalog, competition products catalog, competitionproducts.com, one of the mods, if you post a link, I'd appreciate it. You need to get one of these catalogs because there's a very significant discount for AHRA members. Slant Daily says I can go over the whole thing again. That's what replay is for. We just want to let you know, if you're just now getting here, it's worth your while to go back and watch the first part of this live because it explains the program very well. You each have your own password, but if you're a member, you're going to get a discount on products through competitionproducts.com.
This is the truck in question.
And there's Luke's truck. And if you're wondering who this cat is with the Ranger, with the frame rails on the floor there and got the big turbo, that would be Luke. Luke is one of our no-name 500 contenders who works for Howard's Cams. And his channel is Lukey B Speed and Service. It's listed on my homepage with the other 15 so far, no-name 500 contenders. Go check him out. If he earns your subscribe. He's, how many do you have? 36 subscribers
36
right now?
Before the show, yeah.
All right. And he's got to get 464 more or he will be outside the gate, right, Dallas? Everybody's got to get their 500.
You got to have your 500. I was going to panhandle for mine.
No more discounts. I'm outside the gate.
That's right.
Cutting you guys
We're all
off.
here to help each other out.
And Dakota's asking, how significant of a discount are we talking? And Luke had explained it earlier. It's essentially 5 to 25% off. It just depends how much markup is on each item. Like you can think of it like this: on a set of head gaskets, there's probably quite a bit of markup on a head gasket, right? Because I mean, there's not a lot of stuff that you're getting there. And so you're probably going to get a pretty deep discount on a head gasket. But if you go get like a set of billet rods, I don't think there's probably a lot of margin on a billet set of rods because let's face it, when they stamped it out, probably was worth half as much. So, the aluminum or the steel goes up quite a bit really fast.
What everybody forgets about billet rods and billet crankshafts, when we grind our crankshafts, we have this 9-foot long piece of billet steel. And I think we get like 6 or 7 cranks out of it. The price of the crank reflects all that stuff that ends up on the ground because we still have to pay for that. So when people look at billet parts, you're like, oh man, they're so expensive. It's because there's a lot of waste in a part like that. But to couple with that, I mean, I have a 4,400-pound car making 2,500 horsepower to the tires and going bottom 8s at 4,400 pounds on one of our cranks. So if you're worried about them being good, you can't torture test a crank more than a car like that can.
Yeah, the discount is going to be in line with, they have their own individual margins on all of those parts, but I gotta say this is going to be a really powerful program for all of you guys who are AHRA members. It's going to be a significant amount of savings, and the service, that's the other component. So for those of you again who weren't here earlier, this is the Racers Rep program. Luke is our Racers Rep. He wants to make sure that we get the parts we need, the combinations are right, etc. That, for example, that you get the right springs, right valve springs with your cam, etc., etc. These kind of things are important, and it's good to have somebody who can help us do that.
Right, and it's not just the parts itself. It's virtually like as soon as you buy the parts, you have your own technical representative. That's exactly why it's Racers Rep, right? Mm-hmm. So you literally call and like, hey, I'm having a problem with this thing I just put on. What the heck is going on? Well, Luke is going to sort you out. That's kind of the idea. Now, Unfinished Project put up a comment that says the free catalog has $10.99 in shipping. Is that legit?
What?
But you have an online catalog that's free. So, you're not tethered to that. Do remember that.
Should be free. I'll have to double check that, because when people will send us, I run all our social media for Comp and Howard's. People will send me, I need a catalog, so I'll just go fill out the form for them. And I've never seen a shipping thing come through, so I might have to double check that. But yeah, there is, at the very bottom of that, there is a download catalog. So you can get the online version too, but papers.
Buff
we like the paper.
Buff has a good question there. He's trying to request a catalog, and they want to know how I heard about them. There's no option for the AHRA. Maybe there should be.
Yeah, or there should be. I will fix that. I have the power to do that.
Oh, look at that!
Well, sweet.
Yeah.
This is cool. This is cool. So Jeremy says, and if you haven't seen Jeremy's car, he's got a 4-door 73 Dart with a tunnel rammed small block. I think it's a 408. Really cool, right? He put on an incredible showing in the burnout competition at No Name Nationals last year. Well, I'll tell you what, you couldn't see the neighborhood behind the track or his car anymore. There was so much tire smoke.
Yeah, I was going to say, it actually engulfed his car so much you couldn't see all the trickery he was doing, because he was murdering it, right?
Oh, yeah. You just saw the headlights come drifting out of the smoke. But Jeremy says, I do a smallish cam right now. Maybe I should go nutty. Well, Jeremy, this is an opportunity for you.
Mm-hmm. I will tell you, a lot of guys discount how well a small cam works. I will tell you that if you ever find out what some of these really fast turbo cars are running, or supercharged cars, you will be amazed on how small these camshafts are.
Well, I'll build a turbo.
Buff's Garage said he did not charge me at all to order a catalog.
See, that's what I thought.
Buff said he did not charge me at all.
Yeah. Yeah, there might be another area in it, like you can probably search for a catalog in the parts list, and I'm sure that defaults for shipping.
I bet you so.
Yeah. You use the hot button at the top left of the page; it won't charge shipping.
Yeah, if you could, one of you mods, if you could find that direct link for the free catalog and post it if you would, and I'll try to pin it if one of you would.
Two Hat says that chat. Luke is already up to 53 subs.
No kidding, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Two Hacks. I love those guys.
These lots.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeremy
I can't wait to see their T-Bird.
Oh, well, me too, because he fragged the transmission on it a day before having to leave for the No Name Nationals. So we're all waiting to see it in person.
Well, Tony's Hot Rod Garage is asking a question. I am already a CP customer, and I just became an AHRA member. Will this automatically kick in? It will be somewhat of an automatic transition, but it'll happen around March the 1st is when all of it's going to kind of go into effect. Yep. You'll get an email from essentially me giving you your password, and you already have your login, which is going to be your email, essentially.
And what I didn't tell you, Dallas, is that if he's already a CP member, is that I've been checking the ones that I have put in. I've been checking to see if we've ever sold them, because then they're already established. All I have to do is basically switch on their Racer Rep discount code. So
link
then all their
link it all together.
Yeah, which that's just takes me more time, but that's kind of why we're telling you guys that March 1st is the soft open for this. But if I bust it and get all this done early, which I'm hoping, because I know a lot of you are in the throes of buying and purchasing right now, that, I mean, March is in a lot of places the start of the season, so I want to get this done as fast as possible for you guys.
Check this out. The tale of two different seasons. Mostly Old Parts and Rust last year, he started with 7 subscribers and he made it with a month to spare and says you can do it. Twisted Mopar Garage, he's starting now and says it'll be tough to make 500. I'll try. What a difference a year makes. Twisted Mopar Garage will make his 500, and next year he'll be saying, hey, I started with 7 and made it, and he'll be telling the next year that guy who doesn't know if he can make it.
Yep. Yeah. It's kind of a looming thing, but I have this bad habit of not working on my truck like at night after I get off the phone and get done playing with the kid, and it's like 7:30 at night. The couch is really comfy, and it's freaking cold here, and I don't want to walk out to the garage. So now you guys are holding me accountable. I have to put videos up. So
and content is key. Content is key in this thing. Like I told Bear Rose from the beginning, and there's a lot of no-name guys in here. And I'll tell you the basic secret of this of the content creation, getting your subs up fairly reasonably quickly. What you want to do is you want to make a video. Don't go over 15 minutes. Try to put one up every day. And if you don't have the time to put one up, every day, make a short, okay, and fill in that gap. All you need to do is, how the YouTube algorithm works, I believe, is, and it's really simply this: it looks at browser history. Okay, so when you log in and you go to YouTube, it looks at your browser history and see what you've looked at on YouTube before, and that's how it rates people. So the more browser histories your channel gets into, the more you're going to have stuff pushed to you, the more you're going to have subscribers, and it works like that. So no more than 15 minutes a day. Try to do one every day if you can, because when you're first starting off, it's hard to get into that browser history, right? You just keep smacking it, and you want to do something. I mean, if you think about it, you could literally come up with content for almost anything, right? But you don't want to put out bad content. The way I do it now is I only put out content when I have something that's good. I try, and there's a lot of channels that do that. They're considerably larger than me. But I'm trying to juggle too much stuff at one time, and I'm like not good at it. I'm literally the guy that's like, started off with the 3 balls on the juggling team, and then I drop 1 and somebody throws me 2 more, and then that's where I'm at today. But in reality, if you make some every day, keep it below 15 minutes. And then if you don't have time to make a full-blown 15-minute video, just throw a short in there.
Yeah, the shorts, I love that, because, I mean, I have a bunch of buddies from high school that we all keep up with, and none of them are car guys. So it's just our Snapchats back and forth all the time are just complete shenanigans. And I get more joy and laughter out of those than I do with almost anything else. And I'm like, you know what? What if I took what we did, like what we talk about in our Snapchats, and figure out how to incorporate it into my car life every day, and just post the idiotic things that happen, or the stuff that's too funny, and just make like a little short, like the short clips, and make a video series out of it. And I'm like, oh man, if anybody like watched daytime television years ago, I mean, I'm sure it's still on, but Days of Our Lives, like
Yeah.
Everybody makes fun of that daytime television. So I'm calling my shorts Days of Our Camshaft Lives. And it's just, so far, it's just been random rants about me. Like, John knows, 3/4 race cams and camel humps are my 2 favorite things.
Yeah. So it came up was humpids, right?
Yeah.
I asked Luke. I asked Luke, how often do you hear 3/4 cam? It's like a
3/4 of the
right?
time. Yeah, at least once a week. Yeah. So my shorts will be stupid little funny things that are kind of irrelevant, but they're tied into what I do every day, and that's a huge, like Dallas and I talked when we first started talking about all this and what we should do for a YouTube channel. Should it be Howard's or should it just be me? And we landed on just me, but giving you an inside look into what Howard's does every day, what working like them looks like, and that's what Days of Our Camshaft Lives is going to be. It's going to be. Yes. It's not all sunshine and daisies working for a race car place. It's just, you get. People are people, and they don't just stay outside the race car world.
Well, it's the daily grind from your perspective, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Colleen says, I know there are more than 75 AHRA members. Where's everyone else? Well, they want to spend more money and have less service. That's where they are. But for you guys who are here tonight,
I don't know where they're at. I invited every single one of them. I hit the entire membership. Yeah, but it's not a big deal. I mean, a lot. You got to think about it. Some of these guys are in their 70s or 80s. Computer is like completely foreign to them, right? Mm-hmm. They were the ones that signed up and were like, I want a paper newsletter. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't even have a printer, right? I'm going to send these guys a paper newsletter. But
yep.
Let's see. Well, there's a lot of discussion about what's actually going on.
Should we, I mean, it's 7:45, so we should say at 8 o'clock, we'll kind of re-go over everything again.
Oh, John dropped out. That would probably be why he wasn't saying anything.
Oh, so there you go.
No big deal. We'll run with it, I guess, as they say. But yeah, to tell you the truth, I think this program is actually going to work really well for not just the No Name Nationals, participants in our group here on YouTube, but essentially just about anyone that is going to be either building or buying parts, which is just about anyone in the automotive community, right? So that was kind of the idea behind it, is give somebody an incentive to join the association, as well as they got their own essentially sponsor group that's going to help them out.
Yep. Yeah, like Dallas and I were talking before the show that he posted a meme that was companies just pouring parts down the throat of all the guys with money, the financial backing to build cars, even if they didn't have sponsorships. And yeah, it's cool seeing those cars, but we're the next generation of that. But a lot of the younger guys, even 40-year-olds, I mean, a lot of these guys that have these crazy cars, they're older guys, and us younger people, or even just grassroots people, we can make an impact on the sport, and companies need to stand behind those people, because I mean, just sitting on this side of things, watching what's happened since I've been at Howard's, it's not the big name guys keeping the lights on at all, by a long shot. It is the guy with the 65 Mustang that he finally restored. It was his high school car. And, he just wants a little more. That is the camshaft that we sell the most of, or the style part that we sell the most of. So this level of thing is what keeps the lights on. So it's amazing to be a part of those guys, to be able to give back to them.
Right. Well, okay. I guess to put it into layman's terms, I was posting up these memes that were showing the big time companies pouring money into the already fat catted wallet, big time teams. And really, Howard's Camps and Competition Products is doing it like the opposite. They're taking that same pot of money, but they're spreading it out across such a large field that everybody gets a piece of it, right? And that's where it helps out everyone in the entire community.
Yep. Amen to that.
Yeah. And Fabrice Mont Repeat sends a super chat. John's not here to take your call at the moment. But thanks, Chris. Yeah, there you go. So it's no longer like that, guys. Now you're getting the pipe that's about 10 miles wide, and that super high buck team's got to fight for the same stuff you get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, 38 POS Racing says, ding thing, I ordered a bunch of stuff at the beginning of January. Procrastination would have paid off this time. I'm sorry.
Little ever is that true?
Yeah, that hardly ever pans out that way. But literally, we've been moving about as fast as we can on this thing because there's a lot of moving parts to this. And I'm literally on the phone probably twice a week with Luke on trying to get things organized and how to implement things. And it's not an easy road.
No, it's been a big project, and we haven't even really done all we've done at this point is footwork. I mean, it's a big project.
Right. Well, it took me 16 hours to make you a list that you guys could use, right? Because I have a list that's it's essentially the list I started with from the beginning. But there's probably, well, we're up to 546, I think, on members, or 556. There's 556 names on that list that are different, right? No one person holds 2 spots. So there's 556 names on there, and there's about 200 active members at the moment, right? So that number goes down in the winter, in the fall and the winter. The spring, it'll jump up significantly in about usually about middle of July or maybe the beginning of August. It'll start to go back down because you already got all the members for those tracks that day or that part of the year, and then so people will stop buying memberships, and it'll taper off until it gets down to, again, December, where it's the bottom because no one's racing. But I'm about to change that too, so that's something that's coming up here this year that's kind of unique because we're going to have an off-season race. We're going to have multiple off-season races. And
ice races?
No, this is different. This is like you don't even have to leave your house, and if you're an AHRA member, you're already in it. So it's unique, it's different. Nobody else does it, and I'm keeping my yap shut because I'm still working on it, and the prototype is absolutely kicking my butt. Right? I mean, like, I had it all set up, it was looking pretty, and I'm like, oh, okay, now I just need to make it look good. And I for some reason, everything kept going off to the left, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. So, but coming this year is probably, I would say, at a minimum 2 off-season races, but it'd probably be like 3, right? And I'm going to hold them at very special places, that are unique to the AHRA history. So, like, I want to do a Winter Nationals at Beeline Dragway. Beeline hasn't been open since like probably 1981. No, it might be before that, 1978. So it's, I don't want everybody to get confused. Don't go out to Beeline in Arizona and try to race there. It won't be technically at Beeline. It'll be Beeline Dragway, though. The other thing is I'd like to have one. I think I'm going to try to set it up for like downtown Chicago. I think would be cool to have a seedy street race in downtown Chicago. But you'll see, it's not your normal run of the mill. Nobody else does it. And if you're already a member, you don't pay anything extra. You're already in it, and it does pay you to win. So just make sure you're a member.
For a second there, when you said winter races, I thought you were going to coax everybody up into coming to Merrill and racing with us on the ice up here.
That would be pretty bitching. I don't know if there's I don't know if I have enough balls to even do that, to tell you the truth. It would be kind of rough to go ice racing. Maybe I'll take the Suburban. But,
yeah. I mean, Finnegan and Tony Angelo did it a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah? Well, maybe John would be down for that.
Merrill Ice Drags. You ever heard of that, John?
Oh, you got yourself muted?
Mine.
He must be muted.
Oh, there.
Oh, he's out again. I think he's got spotty internet from where he's at, and it's always that way. Sometimes it works great and flawless, and sometimes it's just a bag of poo.
Yeah, last week when I watched, it seemed really good.
Huh? Yeah, he doesn't usually fall out that much.
Yeah. I don't know if I told you this, but I almost blew the whole surprise on Instagram this week.
Oh, this thing?
Yeah. The Nelsons posted a picture of the. We can hear you now.
There we go.
The Nelsons posted a picture of the Volvo, and it has a little gold EFI box in it. And I'm like, oh, is that the EFI Source Gold box? And they replied back, yes. And I'm like, oh, just wait. I'm like, I might be able to get you a hookup on a Holly. And I was about to hit send, and I'm like, oh crap, I can't tell them that yet. So, so yeah, now if you're sick of dealing with Megasquirt based products, even though they're incredibly budget friendly, once you touch a Holly, you're never gonna want to go back.
That's what I have in my race car. My own personal, my T-Bird has a Holly. It's a Holly HP. I don't know if they even sell them anymore.
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah, HP's still out there. Yeah.
I didn't need anything more than that because I mean it's like that Dominator was way too many channels and it would essentially just sit because I don't have a trans brake or delay box or anything like that. It was all old school.
The cool thing now is if you are a guy with an HP or even the Terminator, and you've used up your 4 in and out on the box, they came out with a CAN bus system that's like $400, and it adds 8 outputs and 8 inputs. And for $400, that is money well spent. And it ties right in via CAN bus, super easy to wire. It's a super small box. You could buy 4 of those and still be half the price of a Dominator.
Right. Yeah, I like my HP. It was simple. It was just enough. It's what I needed to run the car is all I needed. And, I loved it because the Holly stuff actually comes all in what they used to call a la carte. I don't know if they still call it that, but you can buy each individual piece to make your own system however you want it. And that wasn't available when I bought mine. I bought the Holly HP when it came out as a complete kit, probably back in 2011, I guess. Yeah. And it was brand new. And I thought, okay, well, everybody's jumping on these. They were trying to do like the easy tune, easy EFI stuff. And, and I did not want to have injectors at the top of the intake manifold. That was the downfall. Because if I wanted to go to a tunnel ram, you start having the same problems that you do with a carburetor in a tunnel ram situation where the fuel will pool at the top of the intake manifold because there's not enough velocity at low RPM. And EFI, I can only imagine what it would do to EFI when you start having those issues.
It's a pain in the ass.
Is it?
Yeah.
So I went, all right, well, I want something that's SFI and I want something that's individual runner injector. And that's what I did. And now I actually have a Wyand 1994 tunnel ram from like the 70s that I had converted to an EFI intake manifold. I wanted to give that a go, but
yeah. Nice thing about EFI tunnel ram is it's everything good about a tunnel ram and none of the bad about a tunnel
ram. For drivability wise, right? And the thing I do like about the HP is that it'll do 16 injectors, and I can have like on my engine, it requires 42 pound-per-hour injectors to run about it runs 670 horse, right? So that's about the max injector. This is like the max horsepower you can get out of that injector,
right? That out. Yep.
Yeah, and that's at like 60 pounds. So I can't go much more. But what I was looking at was put some 19s in the intake manifold at the top underneath the throttle bodies, right? And you put the 19s up there, and what it does is it gives you all the good stuff that the tunnel ram with a carburetor gives you, right? So you get your fuel atomization and the cooling effect underneath the throttle body, but yet it's not a large enough injector to play in a big factor on air fuel ratio.
Right.
So that's kind of what I was looking at.
Yeah, honestly, something up that high, the computer's probably really not even going to know they're there. There probably is going to be minimal correction factor in the Holly from something like that.
Right. I figured at low RPM it'd be almost nil.
Well, at low RPM, probably the way you set it up is they won't even be on.
Oh yeah, not to come on until over half throttle or something.
Yep. Yeah, or load base. Sometimes you can do that. Yeah, sky is the limit with that EFI stuff. I have so much fun with it.
Right.
There's Luke's spirit animal, Andy from Unity Motorsports Garage.
Yeah, buddy.
He just jumped in here.
That's right.
Yeah.
By the way, the mixed up boss runs a Howard's cam.
Oh, I know. Yeah. When he told me what cam was in it, I was astonished. I'm like, that's all that's in it? And he was telling me this was when he was filming the Dino episodes. And he's like, yeah, this is what we're shooting for. And I didn't say it, but I'm like, oh man, I don't think that.
I was in that Dino episode.
Were you really?
Yes.
I'll have to go back and watch
Go back and watch.
Yeah. But I'm like, oh man, that is not enough cam to do that. And I completely neglected the fact that the thing has the Hemi heads on it. So
the massive cylinder heads.
Yeah. And I'm like, after I thought about it, I'm like, it's actually the perfect cam for it. So
those heads are imported. So that thing has a lot more left. This is just version 1 of that engine.
Yeah. That thing. So you're saying nasty.
It's a stock 302 HO camshaft in that motor.
Yeah, it's a 303 or something.
He's got the 85 model, the one that's supposed to have a 10 more horse.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a 3/4 cam.
You stop that. I have a guy right now that he went like 1019 or 1017, something like that, with a bone stock 5-liter Mustang engine with an on-through 70mm turbo kit on it. Like, he literally took his stock box body, put a turbo on it, and things going bottom 10s. And he's like, I want to see how far I can take everything stock. He goes, I want to have the heads ported, and I want to put a cam in it, but I want to see how far it'll actually go. I'm like, cool, I'll do a cam for you. So I'm not going to share the phone numbers because I'm sure he's going to want to keep that all a secret. But for what he got out of those E7 Ford heads, it's absolutely insane. But we did a funny on the camshaft, and the part number on it is actually the part number of a 2.3-liter Ford Pinto camshaft. So if everybody ever looks at the camshaft, they're like, that's not stock. Well, Ford 2.3 Pinto camshaft.
Huh. Well, I used to run the factory stock way back when they used to have a factory stock class in that 5.0 shootout NMRA thing. I think it was before it was NMRA, matter of fact. But
from what you talked to me about on this, I think it was before the NMRA days.
Yeah, and the big ticket used to be the E-cam was the most expensive camshaft Ford ever made, right? Because the R&D behind it was like ridiculous. So you could pass emissions, you could still run a supercharger and all this stuff. But what happened was all those cores were just essentially a cast core, and they had variations on all the lobes, right? And the rule of thumb used to be take that camshaft, the profile of that cam, and have a custom cam ground that's exact with those same numbers that the E-cam had, and it was worth 15 more horse. So when you run factory stock, that that's not a stock cam. Well, technically it's a E303 camshaft. That's it. And the letter cams used to be the ticket for once upon a time before there was.
They still are in a lot of combinations.
Really?
Yeah.
Blake is asking if you make a cam for the Coleman CT100U mini bike.
Maybe that's what we should actually focus on.
So we have a class for the No Name Nationals called the Monkey Bikes, and it's a spec class designed around the Coleman CT100U, which is this little Shriner-sized mini bike, and
with off-road tires.
That's actually not a bad question at all.
I tell you, I got a bench vise and a grinder. I'll make that thing stop.
Yeah, that's probably a really good question, because I'm sure, like the engine's supposed to be 100% stock, right? Remember the internals. I mean, like you look at but I mean, if you use the factory camshaft, I don't know. You could probably get away with quite a bit with just a factory cam and a grinder.
Yeah, I mean, I know a little bit about those little tiny engines, and I know there are many ways to make them much, much faster. But I mean, if you want to get down on tech, you got a cam guy at your disposal now. We can we'll tech those cams out. You guys be careful.
Well, that's I'm curious to see where the monkey bikes are going to be running this year, because we saw people getting a pretty good amount out of them for their first year, and I expect we'll see some even quicker ones this year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Chris Cox from Fab Race Mod Repeat, he's the promoter out of Northeast Dragway. He actually says here, yeah, go ahead, read it.
Yeah, Speed Oasis would like to put $100 on the monkey bike race. Last year, Speed Oasis put $100 on the class, and this year they're doing the same.
Yeah,
they
which
put
is cool.
Speed Oasis put $100 on the winner of 28-10-5. So,
well, and monkey bike, he did 2 classes.
Yep.
But if you
100 on monkey bike,
and if you don't know, Luke, Fab Race Mod Repeat is the channel for Chris Cox, who actually runs a legit mom and pop speed shop out of Virginia, right?
Cool.
Called Speed Oasis, and they're actually a partner with the AHRA as well. But he always does every year for No Name Nationals, because he is a YouTube content creator, but he just can't make the trek from all the way to think of like the Outer Banks, North Carolina, or yeah, I guess it'd be Outer Banks, North Carolina area, and drive all the way to the No Name Nationals in Sykeston, Missouri, right? Yeah. So he puts a little bit of cash on those classes and hopes that everybody enjoys it.
Whitetail Rancher, you're asking if you can burn alcohol in the monkey bikes. The 2023 monkey bike rules are on the website, nonamenationals.com. And you can see right there what is prohibited in the monkey bike class. And the rules are right there.
It's pretty much what, like benzene, hydrazine, and nitromethane are not allowed.
Right. But you can go look at the rules, nonamenationals.com. There is a monkey bike rules. So also some updates on that website. In addition to having your regular cart items, you're going to see the new flyer for the event, which is this. So this flyer is there. You can print off if you'd like. Also, there is the PNG logo, the AHRA No Name Nationals logo in a PNG file. So if you wish to add it to your videos, you may.
And this week we'll have the PNG files for Howard's Cams and competition products up on the AHRA Facebook page, so you can put those in your thumbnails as well.
By all means, please.
Scarlett, if liquid oxygen is a go, we're going to go on a limb and say no. I mean, I tried to get as many fuels as I could possibly think of that somebody would even consider. That's not one I even thought of, but I'm going to go out on the limb and say no. There's also a catch-all rule in there that says that if the tech inspector feels that this is not within the intent of the class,
right,
he can kick this to the curb. And
understand the monkey bikes are entertaining enough. We're not trying to get someone killed.
Right. But they did figure out what it was. Roland from Torque Racing Productions, he figured out you take those knobby tires off and you put some flat ones on it, and that sucker's twice as fast. And I kept saying that all last year. Let's cut the knobs off. Remember, John, when we were doing the burnouts?
Just remember, the rules tell you what you may not do. The rules don't tell you what you can or should do. They just tell you what you can't.
They make turbos for those.
Check that out. Look at that.
They also make a nitrous kit. Somebody was saying all last year they got a nitrous kit on Amazon for them, like a whippet setup that you put on that small carburetor.
Check it out. I'm looking all through here, and I don't see anything that doesn't allow a turbo or nitrous. Just saying. Maybe that's a little hint from Luke there.
Kim built a supercharger, right?
Yeah, get a smog pump off of like a 1980s, 1990s Ford truck. I will tell you, they will make boost on a little motor.
I'm sure they would.
Mm-hmm. There is a great tuner out there. Of course, now that I'm telling the story, I'm going to completely forget his name. But his dad basically invented the program that Snap-on now uses to help shops with diagnostic procedures, all the non-OEM versions of this is how you get the cylinder head off, or this is how you get the water pump off. So his dad basically pioneered all that. And before there was the software, it was just a call center. So mechanics would call in and talk to these guys and figure out what's going on with these engines. Well, as a kid in high school, he would just show up to his dad's work after school, and places would send these parts in for them to look at and figure out what's wrong with them so they could keep advancing basically their knowledge base to help techs. So he took a little Briggs and Stratton go-kart engine and mounted it to a table and basically set up a timer to run a fuel injector that he found on the shelf there. So the thing was then fuel injected. He rebuilt the smog pump and put the smog pump on it, and it started making about 4 pounds of boost. And this progressed into a 20% nitro load and 30 pounds of boost. Little bench Briggs and Stratton thing. He said it would shoot a flame like 3 foot out of the little tiny pipe on it.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah.
I see the guys talking about sneaking around the rules on the monkey bike. There is no reason to think about. I mean, there is so much untapped potential that's not on here.
We left gray area in there, and we actually created stuff in there to help you think outside the box.
These rules are really minimal. I mean, there aren't as nearly as many rules on the monkey bike as there are any class of cars anywhere. So there's all kinds of room yet to be touched on those bikes before we try to get something around Deke.
Yeah. Hint, hint. Things like visual modifications. Hint, 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 hint.
Yeah, just read them. Read the rules. Read the words. The words are specific. They're purposeful. Read what it says. Imagine what it doesn't say. And there's all kinds of room to make those bikes quicker.
Are there rules for the cars?
They have to pass tech.
Okay, I'm good.
Yeah. The only rules are is you have to pass tech. Everything has to pass tech for the ET that it runs. But in the 28-10-5 class, you must run a 28 by 10.5 tire or a 275 60-15 or smaller, and you must have steel roof and quarters. So it's very very little rules for it, but there are some rules for that.
Yeah, I'm finding a lot of classes kick me out because the truck doesn't weigh anything, even though I fit the spirit of the rules in so many cases with my truck.
That won't really matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as it's got steel roof and quarters and 28-10-5 tires on it, she's good to go.
It's got 26-8-5 tires on it.
See, you're a man after my own heart.
Like that.
I love small tire stuff, and like that's when they were like, "Yeah, 28-10-5 is small tire," and I'm like, "Oh, dude, why?
Wow.
Why you got training wheels on?
28-10-5 is a small tire, but 26s are gangster.
Dude, get it done on that, and you're going to be really impressive."
Yeah, there's 26-8.5 is a great tire. And what I like about that is a Dodge Dart. That's the biggest slick you can run on that car.
It fits any car. It fits any car. That's the ideal situation. And I even was talking to John about it this year. I wanted to do a 26 or a 8.5-inch tire class. Like this year. Okay, what I'm working on now is just a basic set of rules for 28-10-5. But I also, and everybody has, some kind of type of 28-10-5. I'm just trying to standardize it somewhat. So you have a class that you can run in. But the other thing was I'm working on a 28-10-5 NA class, right? Which is, if you notice that the small tire stuff, a lot of people are getting pushed out because it's already costing too much money for people to compete. So I'm going to create a 28-10-5 NA, and we're going to have at it on just motor alone, right? It's a completely different combo if you're thinking that you want to run it, but you don't have to change much on the car. It's just the combo, the engine transmission combo. You're probably going to end up with a 3-speed because you need it for torque multiplication. The glide just won't get it done. You don't have anything that can make enough torque in to really need that glide. So, but yeah, interesting stuff. And I like to think outside the box and have stuff that nobody else has.
Yeah. 26-inch tire class is cool because I don't care how much power you make. That tire is an equalizer.
Oh, big time.
Where the Big Block 402 channel is asking, because he's at work, like I said, we have different shifts that come in here at different times. what did I miss from the AHRA announcement? So I'll repeat this again because I do know we have different shifts that come and go from this. There's a new member benefit for AHRA members that goes into effect on March 1st. It's the Racers Rep member benefit, and it will give you a discount on what you buy from competition products. This is their catalog. You can get their catalog free on their website. And the discount varies depending on what the profit margin is for competition products, but it saves you money. If you're an AHRA member, you will pay less to buy your parts from competition products than you would otherwise. And we have our own representative now, which is Luke, who's joining us here on screen. So, and I've left the link up, posted that Buff had. There is a free catalog link. If you try to get the catalog as a part number, it will add shipping, but there is a place to get the catalog sent to you for free.
There's a link here in the chat somewhere that you can click on, and it takes you right to the catalog.
Well, it's on the screen. Shipping. I'm going to pin it though.
So Blake at Battery saying that J-Bo said we need a timed mini rally style run at the No Name Nationals, I guess. I'm not going to do that this year. That's for sure. We're just trying to refine what we have and bring you something that's just as fun, if not better than last year.
There are a lot of things to consider with how many hours we have to function with that track and make everything happen. And there's a lot that goes into that. And if you try to do too many different things at one event, you'll wind up doing a lot of things not as well as you could. And we're trying to do the things we do very well.
Yeah. Think of the restaurant that's got too many items to order, right? Yeah. None of the food tastes good. They're just turning out product. And we don't want to be that. We would like you to enjoy the entire thing. So that was kind of the ideal.
Welcome, Nick the Van Man 90. He's another No Name 500 contender, as is Mohawk 62. Several of them in here tonight.
Well, here's something that's funny. A Le Mans style drag start. That's a serious drag race. So maybe we should, we could actually do that Le Mans style with the monkey bikes. Wouldn't be too hard.
Well, they were practically doing that last year.
I know. Like Two Hacks Jeff was like, he looked like a flea jumping off bikes to the next one, right?
Right.
Not to say that he was small. He is small, but he was literally jumping from one bike to the next.
Yep. You guys have any specific questions tonight? It is pretty cool to have the guests that we have with Dallas and with Luke here. So this is a good chance to ask your questions in a forum. If you want more detail on the announcement for the member benefit, you can watch this live back. I'll give you a hint. We were greeting people until 7 minutes in because we had a big crowd in here earlier. So that will help bring you up to speed on the member benefit. Racers Rep.
Buff's Garage says, Luke, prepare for your phone to blow up. So
bring it on.
He's already a busy dude anyway. I'm going to tell you that right now. It takes me a while to get a hold of him usually.
Hey, let me tell you, the only people who get stuff done are busy people. That's the way it works, because people who have all kinds of time have all kinds of time for a reason. Yeah. I think Dallas works 38 hours a day.
I wish I had 38 hours in a day.
Right.
I don't wish I had 38 hours in a day because I would work all of them.
Aaron Hinckley's asking, does Howard's regrind?
I get asked that question a lot. So how regrinds work, whether it's a flat tappet or a roller, two very different things there. The general answer is we only regrind our camshafts. And the reason for that is if you send us, let's say, an old Harvey Crane can, and you want that reground because you messed up a lobe on it, what I would have to do is go through and basically figure out how those lobes function and redesign the lobe in order to remake that lobe on one of our CNCs or some machine that we have in the shop. The cost to you for us to do something like that would be a lot. So if you have a Howard's cam and you flatten the lobe off, or damage the lobe, I shouldn't say flatten, so you can't fix that. Damage the lobe off of it, we can generally regrind the lobe and get it back to normal. The other side of that is that if you have a cam, let's say roller cam, and you want it reground to different specs, the biggest issue with that is that roller cam cores are actually roughed out before we even get them. So depending on the supplier that we get a blank camshaft. They're usually a single pattern. Let's say for a small block Chevy, it's probably going to be something that's like a 300 or a 320 lobe lift, and it's probably going to be 220 or 230 at 50 on a 110 lobe separation. We'll make cams all the way from like a 215 at 50 all the way up to like a 240 at 50 with that camshaft. If you're getting outside of those specs, you're getting into the heat treat of the cam, and the cam is no longer, it's worthless at that point. So regrinds on camshafts are a very, very difficult thing, and that's why we only do it to our cams, because we already know where the heat treat's at. Exactly. We know the design and the curvature of the lobe. We can measure the lobe to see. A lot of times what we can do is, say you damaged a lobe. General lobe was this big. We can make it a little bit smaller, but keep all the geometry the same in your engine and still have that camshaft function. So there's a lot of science that goes into all that.
Understand, because I get asked this question occasionally. When he says make the lobe smaller, he's not talking about necessarily reducing lift and duration, because you've got a base circle to play with. This is how people can regrind a cam for more lift or more duration, is you're starting with a smaller base circle. But that's another thing I was going to say. When you're regrinding somebody else's cam, you don't necessarily know how much heat treatment there is in that cam. When
or the master.
Your own, you knew
exactly
or
the master.
It was made from.
Yeah. Because the master is the big play in this thing. That's why it's easy for you guys to regrind a Howard's, because you have the master for it, right? But you might not have a master for, like, I'll pick something Cam Dynamics from the 1970s, right? You guys may not have it, so you have to recreate one.
Hey, Buff, you're asking for a link to Luke's channel. So Jeff put up on the community page, but don't rely on that. I just made that post. There have been 2 or 3 more channels registered since I made that community post. It's already outdated. Go to my YouTube homepage. I keep it updated every day with new No Name 500 contenders. Go to the homepage, not the community post. Because, for instance, Luke was not on the community post because I put that up, I think, the day before he registered. But that's the current one. So go there if you want to check these guys out, including Luke's channel. I just want to get that out there. So if you haven't, Lukey B's Speed and Service is in the No Name 500, and he's on our screen. So what more of a commitment can you ask for from somebody than that? You know, they're willing to work with us with a discount, with the Racers Rep discount. We have our own concierge, our own rep. And to show that he's one of us, he's willing to register in the No Name 500, earn his 500 subs to come participate with us. That's as grassroots as it gets.
Yeah. And that was
looking forward to it.
It was the perfect plan that we put together, I think. You know, the White-tailed Rancher here says, whatever became of that sleeper car race. Right now, I'm just I'm trying to work out tracks and schedules. We'll eventually get to something. I don't know if anybody's going to pick up on the sleeper car race, but that is something that is going to have to be in a specialized area. What you try to do is tailor the events to the tracks, where they're located. And I need a specific track for that sleeper car race, because you won't have enough cars to pull from if you don't.
So grab Andy's question here. Howard's doesn't use SADI cores.
SADI cores. Long story, they're cast iron cores. He said we doesn't, or do we?
He says you do not.
We do, but they're only for small hydraulic rollers. For example, Dallas brought up the E303 cam from Ford. Those were a SADI cam core. They're great because you can run a cast iron distributor gear. They're cheap. They're malleable. They're like playing with Play-Doh. It's the next best thing to a flat tappet when it comes to cam cores. So it's about, if you've noticed, you look at a comp cam compared to one of our cams, they're considerably cheaper. And that's not a quality thing. It's how we're sourcing the parts. We do have the option for billet cores on basically everything. Most hydraulic roller billets would be on a 1055 steel core. They would have a steel distributor gear, so you would have to change your distributor gear. But for what Andy has, he's probably got something like an 8660 or an 8620. I'd have to go back and look and see what core we used on his cam. But yeah, we do have some super high grade billet stuff for the solid rollers like he's using.
I want to grab this for Buck. So this is what people are confused by. When you only see a limited number of channels on my homepage, and this is true for anybody's page, you have to click up here in the top, in the upper left, where it says No Name 500 Contenders. When you click that, it shows you all of them. It'll only let you scroll through the first 12 or 15 or whatever. But when you click that, you can see all of them. See, all 17 are here. And you're just clicking the label that says No Name 500 Contenders in the upper left right there. If you click on that, you can see them all on the same page. It makes subscribing and seeing the sub counts and everything it's the easiest way possible. I just want to say that because people were not able to see the channels I've added. And 38 POS Racing has an excellent question. Do no-name nationals contestants need to buy AHRA memberships? Not to compete in the no-name nationals, but if you want to be part of this member benefit that AHRA has, the Racers Rep benefit, then yes, you do need an AHRA membership for that. And I encourage it for everyone. You guys all buy parts and you all want to save money and you all want to support the sanctioning body that supports us. So I would recommend it altogether. So I wanted to grab those couple of things in the chat.
First Responder Garage says, discount. I just flipping bought 5 custom cams. I spec'd. Damn it. What's the cost?
Ooh, 5 cams from us?
5.
I have no idea. He didn't elaborate, but he just said he bought 5 custom cams.
I need his money.
Yeah, well, Andy from Unity Motorsports Garage says, I meant in solid rollers. So the say,
yeah, no, yeah. Yeah,
So
you'd have a solid set of pieces of a camshaft.
First Responder's asking a question. I was told to use your distributor gear on my billet cams. Is this correct? I forget the billet number, but it's a gold billet, if that helps.
So we offer a handful of different distributor gears. On our billets, if it is a solid roller, it pretty much old school bronze gear will work on it. However, on some makes and models, we do have a composite gear, which sounds sketchy because composite in your head sounds like plastic, and why would you want something plastic at that point in your engine? Truth be told, they are bulletproof. It's when we all had cast core camshafts, nobody worried about their distributor gear because they rarely saw wear. If you want that kind of life in a solid roller cam, put a composite gear on it. You'll love it.
I was actually going to say the same thing, that the bronze gear is a sacrificial gear, right?
Yep.
It's softer than the actual camshaft gear. So the idea is it will wear out, and you'll notice it when it gets worn out because the timing will move, right?
Correct.
Now I did a composite on mine when I did it, just because I read the horror stories about the billets where it was difficult to troubleshoot when the thing started jumping time. It didn't really jump time. There was so much slop in the gear that when you set the timing right, it would be 4 degrees off, and you're like, how is that possible?
Yeah.
You know, and I just set that. And so I'm like, you know what? Let me read if there's some other option. And that composite gear was the deal. And like he's saying, well, originally when I read it as plastic, and it's not like, you know, you have the McDonald's toy as a distributor gear. It is literally like some hardcore stuff. I mean, it is freaking like hard. Imagine JB Weld met like carbon fiber kind of stuff.
Yeah,
right.
It's badass.
It is. Yeah. I was surprised when I got it, like, holy crap, this thing's black and it weighs about nothing.
Yeah, it's crazy when you take it out of the bag when you first get it. They don't weigh anything. And you have to. Ours, they only come with 1 hole in them, And something that I will point out is that if you're buying a distributor gear, depending on the camshaft that you're using, a lot of these distributor gears are set up to go with like a Pertronix or an MSD. A lot of us budget guys are using like off the shelf HEIs, or the Ford guys, we're using TFI modules and stuff like that. The distributor, the roll pin hole won't always line up, so you might have to drill new holes. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I have a composite here in my distributor, and it's strained because it's plastic, so you expect drilling through it to be just like punching through plastic, and it takes a second, not as long as steel would, but it takes a second to go through it. So it's interesting material.
Well, I remember when I got mine, because it didn't even have a hole in it.
Oh, you had to completely drill yours?
You had to drill it.
Wow.
And I'm like, I was way overthinking it first, like, oh my God, how am I going to do that? I'm going to have to measure everything and figure it out. And then I realized, no, wait, I just drilled a hole right through the center of it, and it's going to line up somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. All I did was take a stock distributor gear and I measured like how far up the hole's got to be, and that's it. Like,
yeah, I set both of mine on the bench and put a punch all the way through it and just gave it a little tap. And I'm like, there we go.
Oh, well, yeah, that'll work too.
So
but yeah, I just ended up measuring it.
Unfinished Project is asking what other benefits come with an AHRA membership. I'll let Dallas tell you about performance-based payout, but I will say something. This competition products thing, there are other things in the works that we're working on right now. But Dallas, you should tell them about the performance-based payout.
Well, I had alluded to the off-season drag races when you were down, right? That's one of the things I brought up that's actually going to be on the schedule this year. But the other thing, performance-based payout is essentially, if we do a performance-based payout race, and it doesn't really matter what race it is, because it can be put on top of just about anything. But normally it falls on brackets. A lot of the tracks were picking them up, and they would do it on brackets. Some of them did on an index. But performance-based payout is, if we have a performance-based payout race and you go to a bracket race that's a performance-based payout race, and you are an AHRA member, we pay you money on top of the actual tracks payout. So you normally have like a standard run-of-the-mill, let's say, it's usually about $600 we pay on top, but that's the whole entire budget, right? So it'll be split amongst one, maybe two, maybe even three classes on top of the payout. But here's where it gets funky, because that's why it's called performance-based. The more work you do, the more you get paid. So let's say you're a box racer and you collect $300 on top of the box track payout, which, let's say they're paying $1,500. Okay. So now you're looking at $1,800. But if you're a no box bottom bulb racer and you race in the box class and you win, your payout's now double, $600 on top of track payout, right? Because you did more work. It was more effort for you and more skill that you shown that it took to win. And then it gets even better, because if you're a stick shift racer, now that payout, if you go in and you manhandle somebody in a bracket class as a stick shift car, all the odds are against you. Everything is against you. It's impossible to leave off the clutch every time the same way, roll the gears, and come out with the same number at the end of the day. Okay. But if you do, it's $2,000 on top of track payout, right? So now your regular weekend bracket race just turned into a big money bracket race, and all you did was put all the odds against you.
We do the same. AHRA member,
right? We also do a thing called the perfect run bonus. If you run a perfect run in a bracket race at an AHRA track, you collect $100. Okay, a perfect run is something that normally just goes by the wayside. If you're a bracket racer or an index racer, those things go by the wayside. It's cool that you did it, but you never hear anything. Well, we're different. We pay you $100 on top. Plus, we send you a certificate that says I ran a perfect run at wherever you did it, right? So it has to be an AHRA track. You got to be an AHRA member. And yes, the no-name nationals can be included in that, because when we run the no-name nationals at Jeffers Motorsports Park, it will be an AHRA track for that weekend. So if you run a perfect run out there, you better run up with your freaking time slip, because I'm going to pay you $100. The cool thing is, if you do it in the finals, I'm going to pay you $200 to do it. So it's just to incentivize the things that should be incentivized as a sportsman. Like you're racing, you're your skill effort is being rewarded. And that's
not to mention the benefit for AHRA is they are the sanctioning body for the rest of us. Think about it. They're sanctioning the no-name nationals. Do you think any of these other sanctioning bodies would sanction what we do and the stuff that we have and the kind of cars? And no, the AHRA is a sanctioning body for the rest of us. So I'll say that. And it looks like the orders are already going to start piling up on you there, Luke.
Saw that. So, awesome.
Steven's already got some valve covers in the queue. Anybody have anything else in general? It's been a fun live. Other than my little tech glitch, it's been a fun live.
What happened this time?
I don't know. My computer wanted to reboot. It didn't crash, but it just kicked out on me. Didn't like it. I had to come back in.
It was funny because you were sitting there, and you were just not moving, and
I could see it on the phone. I could see it because I had my browser on my phone. And I'm like, oh gosh, it just locked up on me.
And you were just quiet. And then Luke and I were talking. All of a sudden, you just fell out. I'm like, oh well, John's gone.
It worked out. But one more time, just for people who may not have been here for the first shift, because we do have a little bit of time left. If you were not here earlier, the new AHRA member benefit called Racers Rep is here. It will be active on March the 1st. And it is a discount on competition products, things from their catalog. And there is more available than what's in the catalog. Luke says is about a quarter of what they have is in this catalog. But if you're an AHRA member, it will get you a discount. And it's Racers Rep. And our rep is Luke. So you get more service for less price. There is no downside at all, but it's available to AHRA members beginning March 1st. This is a big deal. I know you guys spend money. I saw the boxes and boxes of parts and unboxings all last year, probably 7 figures spent on the no-name nationals alone in 2022, much less everything else you guys do. So this is a big deal for you guys. And we're really proud to be offering that.
Yeah, well, now you'll be able to spend 6 figures and still have the same amount of stuff.
Right.
That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick says he needs a drive shaft loop, and he'll definitely use the discount. So
right on.
Where do we order from? So competition products, you can get a free catalog. There is an option to get a free catalog. Make sure you go to the upper right-hand corner of their website, competitionproducts.com. You will see a place to request a free catalog. You can also use their site online and order from it. I was playing around with that this weekend. They've got all kinds of brands that we all buy and use, and you can do it like that. But it'll be March 1st is when your discount will go live. So if you're an AHRA member, March 1st, Dallas is planning to email everybody. So if you're not yet an AHRA member, this would be a pretty good time to do that. Not to mention that you also get the other benefits like performance-based payout too, and you're supporting the sanctioning body that supports us.
Right, and you can win some extra cash at the No Name Nationals. You run a perfect run.
Outfits Garage, you go to ahraonline.com. ahraonline.com. If one of the mods could pop up a link to that, it would be appreciated. And I'll mention Indirect Connection there. That's a Jason Falk's channel. He has Indirect Connections. You'll be seeing more content on there. It's basically the overflow parking for Rapid Transit Garage, that channel. If you're wondering, if you haven't yet seen that, that's who and what that is.
Well, what's interesting is Outfits Garage was asking where does it go to become a member of the AHRA? And Luke, if you didn't know, Outfits was our resident expert last year on stock cars at the drag strip. He brought a late model to a drag strip.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Well, I guess it would be a street stock, right? It was a street stock.
It's a dirt track car.
Yeah.
That's badass.
It has a 600 gear, and he was running out of gear in the 8th mile. But one of the wildest runs of the weekend, he was racing Big Block 402 in that Chevy pickup, and he got it in the marbles and was all kind of crossed up. He's the only guy that runs the 8th mile in 750 feet, but he got to the end, and it was a great race.
Yeah, and, in the dirt car too, he probably had one arm out the window, and he was just like,
"Oh, it was wild."
Drive in the marbles.
It was a stick shift car, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
he was growing the gears. And it was, I mean, he was hammering it, not even a little bit of stuff, but you know how they got all that suspension travel, and that thing was literally all dancing all over the place.
Yeah,
it was fun to watch.
So when I first got into Howard's, when I started here, they're like, yeah, get ready for hydraulic flat tappet and dirt track racing. And I'm like, man, are you serious? I'm like, that stuff sucks. Like, I don't want to do dirt track cars. And about a month into it, I'm like, holy crap, like these cars were legit. Like even like B-mod stuff.
Oh yeah.
The amount of suspension and chassis setup that those cars do, and I have an exceptional amount of time that I have spent making legal camshafts for those cars too, and it is so much fun working with those guys. They have, there's some hillbilly crap going on in those cars, man. Cool.
Yeah.
I did a race 2 years ago, I guess it'd be now, called the Slanted Nationals for Slant 6 cars. Okay. And when I'd bring it up to the regular racer, they'd be like, well, why the hell would you even want to do that? I'm going to tell you right now, that was hands down next to the No Name Nationals, because the No Name Nationals was designed to have that same flavor. This was a year before the No Name Nationals. That was hands down the most fun drag race I've ever been to in my life. Right? There was like 35 cars, maybe. There wasn't a lot of cars. There wasn't a lot of spectators. We got 100% chance of rain on the race day, and it happened at 4 a.m. Right? And so by the time 8 o'clock rolled around, it was ready, like nice and sunny.
Dry.
Yeah, everybody's ready to race. And there was some of the neatest stuff I've ever seen. There was a Valiant there. There was a 60, I want to say it's a 65 or 6 Valiant. It ran a 620 with a slant 6 in the 8th mile, right? And it was street tires. It looked just like a regular street car. This thing was not effing around a little bit. I mean, it was legit fast. But so that was it. It doesn't matter really what it is. Stop looking at it from the perspective of because you don't like it, it sucks, right? That's the big thing that I took away from that. There was a lot of guys that spent a lot of time and effort doing some really neat stuff. And that was what inspired me to do. Last year, I was supposed to do a race called the Inliner National Challenge. And there was supposed to be multiple types of inliner cars and stuff like that. And it ended up being, when we were supposed to have the race, like $5 a gallon for gas. And of course, I knew it was going to murder the event, right? Like no one's going to tow for that. So we ended up cutting it off early to come to find out that we ended up with $3.50 gas or something. So it could have been really awesome at that point. Yeah. Professor P was at the Slanted Nationals.
Yeah, he's into those cars, isn't he? You and I were talking about his car last time we were on the phone.
Yeah, he loves some slant cars, and it's because it's something that nobody else works with, and you got to be a true hot rodder to make them go, right? There's not a lot of parts for them.
Something I'd love to try that's kind of like a Slant 6 is, so I love the absolute grassroots of hot rodding, which is Bonneville. If you've never been to the Salt Flats, I haven't, but I've been part of stuff out there. Amazing cars that are just wrong in every way, doing all the right things. But the big thing that those guys do is go for these weird cubic inch cylinder records. So what they do is they'll like take a deck plate, and for those of you that don't know what that is, it's just a flat, basically sheet of steel that would go on top of a block for machining purposes. And they use it just to seal up one side of a V8. And then on the other side, they'll run just the 4 rods and pistons. So it's a 4-cylinder V8 let's say it's a 500 cubic inch Chevy. So that's 250 cubic inch 4-cylinder. And these guys are doing 200 some mile an hour out there with it. And what they have to do to make those crankshafts work in half the amount of cylinders, I mean, they're cutting off the small end of the rods, so the big end's just kind of whipping around on the bottom. And the Salt Flat stuff is cool, but I'd like to try one of those someday. I'd like to build a 4-cylinder V8.
I'm like inspired by stuff that's different, and Bonneville is one of the things I've always wanted to do, And how I want to do it is this: it's completely different. You're never going to go out there and run 700 miles an hour without a bazillion sponsors and something you built in your garage. I want to keep it local, grassroots friendly. Someone built it at home kind of stuff. And I figured out at 200 miles an hour, they give you a jacket. So my idea was you show up with a car that could do 200 miles an hour. And most people are going to go, oh man, what? You're not even going to find a car that do 200 miles an hour. Oh, au contraire. In the 1980s.
Welcome to the 1980s.
Yeah. They built cars that were all over the roads that ran 200 miles an hour, wind tunnel tested, right? You go get yourself an 87, 88 Thunderbird, 87 Regal, right? A Monte Carlo Super Sport with that big, ugly back glass. Those things were designed to run 200 miles an hour and not even bat an eye. And so you buy one of them things, you put a motor in it, and you spray it till the rods fall out, and you get your 200 mile an hour jacket, right?
Yeah. I will tell you that for the Ford Flathead blown gas category, the record is held by a 240 SX. And the guys are pissed about it because it's not conventional. But they destroyed that record with that aero on that car. But that's just saying that a 240 SX with a turbo flathead, like none of that should work. Why would you do any of that? That's why the Salt is cool.
Yeah.
Chris says now Dallas wants to go 200 miles per hour for $10.
11. I have a large budget for this class, for this, I guess, attainable goal. $11.
$11.
I'd like to go.
Doug Narden says they get a hat at 200 miles an hour. Okay, I thought they got a jacket.
I thought they got a jacket too.
400 gets the black hat. Well, I have no fear of ever having to worry about that.
Yeah, I won't have a black hat. But I'd sure as hell. Here's what my idea was you build a car that runs 200 miles an hour, and you take like 6 buddies, and you throw them all in there, and every single one of you gets in the record books and gets a 200 mile an hour red hat.
Yeah, how cool would that be?
That would be awesome, right? Like something that you all built in your garage to run 200 miles an hour.
Yeah. And there are guys out there that completely stick to that old style of doing stuff. Like they'll still show up with like the World War I style, like mesh tents and everything. And they got their flat fender Jeep out there that towed stuff out there, and they got their flathead coupe, and yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
Colleen Tebow's asking an important question. What's the definition of a perfect run? So Dallas, define what a perfect run is.
Okay. A perfect run situation only happens in a bracket or an index race. So it's a perfect light, right? So you dial like the perfect light, 0, 0, 0, 0 across the board, and then dead on the dial or dead on the index with a 0. Right?
So if let's say your car is dialed 815, you have to run 815 0, and your reaction time has to be 0, 0, 0 green. That's a perfect run.
And that's something that should be rewarded because that means you leave nothing on the table for the other racer at all. And you did it all based off of skill or dumb luck or however it happened. But
I've seen one perfect run at my home track, Princeton Dragway, before it closed. One time. A guy named Barlow did it.
It usually happens about maybe once to possibly twice a year, depending on how many tracks they're running.
I've seen 2 in my life, one at my home track. I can't remember where the other was. I've only seen it twice in my whole life. And you got to be really good, but there is a little element of luck there too. I mean, we're talking about 10,000s here.
And I'm looking at Thumper's comment here. He says you have to set a record over 200, not just run 200. Okay. Well,
the Nelsons are trying to run 200 right now. They want to run 200 this year.
At the Salt, or
they're on the East Coast. What's the name of that? If he was, I wish he was in here because Andrew is all about this. What's the name of that?
It's the dry lake bed.
Yeah, they're running it this year, and they want to go 200, and they've been 199 something.
Yeah. Is this the East Coast Timing Association thing?
What's that?
Is that the ECTA?
El Mirage.
El Mirage. No, that's California.
Oh, you said East Coast. Okay.
Yeah, they do the ECTA, which used to be on an abandoned runway somewhere like North Carolina or something, but I don't know where it's at now.
I can't remember if he were in here, he could tell us all about it. I'm looking to see if he. I don't have
Blytheville, Arkansas. Does that sound right?
I can't remember where it is, but he runs somewhere, and they've been almost 200. They want to go 200. They have a Studebaker that they've run land speed with, and they're going to convert to Datsun to run land speed. The Datsun
will be a good one for that. Yeah, guys, they think that, I mean, they see these drag cars going 200 and a quarter, and they're like, oh yeah, you should be able to do that easy in a standing mile. Aero is such a huge thing with those cars.
So Matt Cooper sent Dallas, I think Bubblegum did a perfect run at Northeast Dragway in her Black Z, that's Fab Race Mod Repeat's girlfriend. I guess apparently she did a perfect run. It wasn't, I don't think it was out there while I was racing there, or while we were supporting them as a sanctioned AHRA track.
Hey, Slant Daily, send us a super chat. Thank you very much, Shane. I appreciate that. Almost 200 club. Dallas has to watch the video and give a reaction.
My phone is not even in the room. It's on a charger.
Well, it's got to be charged by now.
Well, I'd have to go get the thing. And we're at literally like 8 minutes left.
That's right. We have a few minutes left. Well, thank you very much, Professor P. I appreciate that. Thank you kindly.
I just want to say thanks. I've been kind of checking in on YouTube here and there. I am rounding the corner to 100 subs already. You guys are insane.
Are you?
72 last time I checked. Coming up quick.
You're getting close. So where is Lukey B speeding service right now? One of you guys let us know. I'm looking. Looks like 74.
There you go.
Yeah, and this morning, how many did you have?
I had 36 this morning, so it's double.
Yesterday you had 5 because I was your 6th.
Well, yeah, yesterday morning I had 1.
I was subscriber number 6.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd send it to all my friends. I'm like, y'all better subscribe. I don't even care if you like cars.
So Luke's gotten 74 subscribers in 2 days, and there's guys worrying about getting 500 in 236 days and 2 hours and 7.5 minutes.
Oh, I'll tell you what he sent me. He sent me a video. Here he is pushing some kind of Chrysler product. He's driving it.
Go ahead.
Well, he just pegged out the speedometer in one of these newer like Hellcat Chargers at 160. So, yeah, he's trying to join the 200-mile-an-hour club.
He's trying.
Yeah, Professor P really did it in Mexico. He was in Mexico running 160 miles an hour in his Hellcat or whatever that was. 170. Okay, that's what it says. 170.
So Mopar Den, he's mentioning, posting a link to Luke's channel. If you go to my YouTube homepage and you click on the No Name 500 contenders, it will show all of them, including Luke.
Well, Pure Pontiac Garage here is saying it's a long way to 500.
He says that every week.
It is not, buddy. I'm telling you. It's not.
It's a long way there if you want it to be. And he says that every week. But for those who are just jumping in and doing it, it's just flying. Look at One-Eyed Cat. Don English is at 271 already. But that's just because he just did it. He's just making content doing it. And if you do it, it happens.
Yep.
But yeah, so you can go to my homepage. They're all listed there, but you need to click on No Name 500 contenders. There's 17 at the moment. I should actually check my email. There may be more than 17 because usually they come in. There's 17 at the moment, and that's where all of them are. You can check out their channels, and if they earn your sub, go ahead and subscribe. And I always say that. I never say go subscribe to them because I always say if they earn your sub, subscribe because there's no asterisk by it. If they get it, they get it. They did it. They deserve the credit because it's their content that earns your sub. Yeah, Don's at 274, Colleen. Where have you been? He is moving on. James and James, by the way, what Irish Outlaw is referring to, they did it in 2 weeks with a whole lot of content and hard work.
I had to eat some Nikes on that one. Yeah, because I said, oh, these guys are like literally at the last minute you could do this. And I would go out on a limb and say that they probably won't get it. Right. And man, did they freaking prove me wrong, because they murdered that sucker in 2 weeks.
They did. 500. They got it from 40 some. They did it in 2 weeks, and it was really impressive. But they did it the hard way. They did it all with just hard work. It seems like a long way to 500. Let me tell you, the more subs you get, the quicker you will get them. Okay, so the first 500 takes a whole lot longer than the second 500, and then you'll get to 1,500 before you know it, and then you'll get to 2,000 even quicker, because it's like branches on the tree. The more you get, the faster you'll get even more.
Where are the Nelsons at now? That channel's got to be not even 2 years old, and they're what?
They're about 20,900.
Yeah, that's right insane. Now. That's they were money making territory on YouTube.
The Nelsons were at 8,000 when they registered for the No Name Nationals last year. They eclipsed 20,000 on New Year's Eve, and they're about 20,900 right now.
Well, we have some actually some crazy success stories out of last year's No Name 500 crew. There was a couple of them that was like 25, 30,000 subs by the time it came around to the No Name Nationals.
No, Junk Car Willie, he got 8,000. I know Two Hacks Jeff started with 0 and got to around 2,500. I know a lot of these guys, really, really soared and took off. Buck Does It got 3,000. Yeah, Barrow's Garage, he had pretty close. So we had a lot of channels start from scratch, and really, Irish Outlaws about to hit 2,000. So we've had a lot of channels. Punisher Le Mans around 1,500.
Buff's way up there too, isn't he?
Buff's got 3,000. So we've got a lot of success stories that came out of that, and they just keep going. But we have just a few minutes left, so if you guys have anything else you'd like to get in there, any last questions, go ahead and ask. I do want to thank the mods. They've kept everything running well tonight and putting up links, and I really appreciate that. Without you guys, we couldn't be doing this. I want to thank all you guys in the chat for turning out tonight. We hope this was a worthy announcement, because it's going to prove to be a lot of value to you for your AHRA membership, and thanks for that. I want to say thanks to Luke for joining us tonight and putting up with our shenanigans for the full 2 hours, and Dallas. So appreciate you guys. And if you guys have anything else, any announcements or things you want to plug, Dallas?
I want to thank Howard's Cams and Competition Products for doing this, right? I mean, they could have just been like everybody else and walked on by, this guy's a coot, he's got crazy ideas. We don't want to listen to him. But no, these guys listened to me, and it made sense to them.
Yeah.
All right. You got anything coming up on your channel, Dallas?
Wednesday Night Tech Talk, me and Professor P. I think we're going to have Luke on there as well. And to announce, to get the lowdown on this same thing, but over on the AHRA Wednesday Night Tech Talk.
Dallas and I might be doing some Buick stuff here pretty soon too. So just saying, that's coming up.
I always have Buick stuff coming up.
That's it.
I don't know when I don't.
I don't usually get wrangled into it. Luke, do you have anything that you want to plug? Anything you want to tell them might be coming up on your channel, or exciting stuff coming from Howard's Cams or Competition Products?
So Howard's Cams, big thing we're working on right now is the 7.3 liter Godzilla Ford engine. So I have an absolutely beautiful truck coming together with a Canada customer right now. Merkel Motorsports on Instagram. If you want to follow him, truck is awesome. Things going to make about
7.3
Godzilla. Yep. It's going to make about 2,000 horsepower. So it's
probably stock block.
Wow.
Those Godzillas don't need a whole lot. I'll tell you that much. Yeah.
I know. I heard you could do 600 just by camp swapping them.
Yep. Yeah. So that truck is in the forefront of our mind right now. We have a couple other little things with LS motors we're going to be letting out. So the DoD delete kits to get rid of those crappy variable duration lifters that come stock. And basically our version of the truck Norris cam that BTR does that's been so popular. So that's coming out on my channel. So the big scope of things is a release of a video every 2 weeks, mainly just because I have so much going on. But the next video we're going to be going over my truck. So there is probably, I can count in my two hands how many built drag Rangers there are in the country. So it'll be fun kind of going over how everything in that truck works.
Oh, Dr. Art's got one.
Excellent.
Yeah, you'll have to see that one at No Name Nationals.
Yeah, so that's that red one, right, with the LS?
Yep.
Yeah.
As does Ken from Tall Garage.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's right. Ken's is too, yeah.
Ranger guys, this is your call out. You're all going down.
Well, I'm hoping Ken has his stuff together because you're like this. Well, I don't know. Is he planning on putting that 306 in the Ranger?
I have no idea. Ken was in here earlier, but I'm telling you, he needs
Ken
to
is making a 306 with two LS heads that are cut off and welded back together as the cylinder head, cross flow cylinder head for that 306.
That is the way to do it, and it's easier than you think.
Yeah,
that is the ticket on those engines.
Well, he pioneered this thing, and then everybody else has been pretty much just running him over because he's literally like one of our guys that works out of a garage and budget, kids, life.
Dr. Art and his Ranger will coincidentally, he will always be the first person to make a pass at the No Name Nationals. He was the very first person down the track.
That's cool.
But guys, we're at our time, and thank you guys in the chat. And so Wednesday Tech Talk, you'll be seeing Dallas and Professor P, and
Luke will be there.
Yep.
Okay. All right. And I'll plug real quick. I've got Tom Sarmento, mechanic for Warner Brothers, worked on the Dukes of Hazzard, BJ and the Bear, Fall Guy, and a few other shows you've heard of. He will be on this show a week from today. So you want to check that out. He's got some fantastic stories to tell and so forth. And with that, we'll see you all soon. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.